There's a strategy going viral right now that says you can ditch the banks, become your own banker, and build wealth using nothing but a life insurance policy. It's called infinite banking. And depending on who you are, it's either the smartest financial move you'll ever make or a trap that will cost you hundreds of thousands of dollars. The people selling this idea will tell you it's a cheat code. The people against it will tell you it's a scam. But the only way to know for sure is to run the numbers. So today we're going to follow one person through this entire strategy, dollar by dollar, year by year. And by the end, you'll know exactly whether this can work for you or whether you're about to make someone else very, very rich. Meet Ethan. He's 30 years old, earns about $70,000 a year, and he's been doing the responsible thing. He's got some money in his 401k, a little bit in savings, and he's trying to figure out how to build real wealth. Then one night he's scrolling through his feed, and he sees it. A guy in a nice suit standing in front of a whiteboard explaining how the wealthy have been using life insurance to build tax-free fortunes for generations. The video has millions of views. The pitch goes like this. You take out a whole life insurance policy. Unlike regular term insurance, which just pays out if you die, whole life has a savings component built into it called the cash value. Over time, money builds up inside this policy. And here's the hook. You can borrow against that cash value whenever you want. Need a car? Borrow from your policy. Want to invest in real estate? Borrow from your policy. Instead of paying interest to a bank, you're paying interest back to yourself. They call it infinite banking. Become your own banker. And the way they frame it, it sounds like you've been leaving money on the table your entire life. Ethan's intrigued. He starts researching. He watches 20 more videos. Every one of them says the same thing. This is how the rich build wealth. This is the strategy they don't teach you in school. This is the real hack. So he reaches out to an insurance agent who specializes in this strategy. The agent is polished, confident, and walks Ethan through an illustration showing his cash value growing year after year after year. Ethan's ready to sign. But before he does, let's slow down and look at what's actually happening under the hood. All right, so here's what most people don't fully understand about whole life insurance. When you pay your monthly premium, that money doesn't just sit in a savings account with your name on it. It gets split up. One portion goes towards the actual insurance cost, which is the death benefit that pays your family if you pass away. Another portion goes toward the insurance company's operating costs and overhead. And the third portion, whatever is left, goes into your cash value. In the early years of the policy, that third portion is small. Very small. The insurance company front loads their costs, and a large chunk of your first-year premium goes toward the agent's commission. How large? Agents typically earn 70 to 110% of your entire first-year premium as their commission. Read that again. On some policies, the agent earns more in commission from your first year than you actually put in. This is why your cash value barely moves in the first couple of years. It's not broken, it's by design. Now, the infinite banking crowd knows this, and they've developed a workaround. They designed the policy with something called paid-up additions, or PUAs. This is essentially extra money you dump into the policy on top of your base premium, and it goes almost entirely into cash value. A properly designed infinite banking policy might have 60 to 80% of your total premium flowing into PUAs. This accelerates the cash value growth significantly. And over time, the policy also earns dividends from the insurance company, which can compound on top of your existing cash value. The top mutual insurance companies are currently paying dividend rates somewhere around 5.75 to 6.60%, though these are not guaranteed. So the money grows. It grows slowly at first, then faster as compounding kicks in. And when you want to use that money, you don't withdraw it. You borrow against it. The insurance company gives you a loan using your cash value as collateral, and your money stays in the policy, continuing to earn dividends. On paper, this sounds incredible. Your money grows in two places at once. You never interrupt the compounding, it's tax-free, it's private, and you set your own repayment terms. But here's where it gets complicated, and this is where most of those YouTube videos stop. Let's run Ethan's numbers. He decides to commit $750 a month to this strategy. That's $9,000 a year. For someone making $70,000, that's a significant chunk of his income, roughly 13% of his gross pay going into this one policy. The agent sets up a properly designed whole life policy with a base premium and maximized paid-up additions. Here's what actually happens. After year 1, Ethan has paid in $9,000. His cash value? Roughly $6,300 to $7,200. Right out of the gate, he's down somewhere between 20 and 30%. That gap is the insurance costs, the commission, and the company overhead. Even with an optimized infinite banking design, you only get access to about 70 to 80% of your first year's premium as cash value. After year 3, Ethan has paid in $27,000 total. His cash value is probably around $22,000 to $24,000. He's still underwater. He's put in more than he can access. By year 5 to 7, this is where the policy typically breaks even. Ethan has paid in somewhere around $45,000 to $63,000, and his cash value finally catches up to what he's contributed. From this point forward, every dollar he puts in starts showing up almost 1-for-1 in his cash value, and the dividends start adding meaningful growth. By year 10, Ethan has paid in $90,000. His cash value, with dividends reinvested, might be around $85,000 to $100,000 depending on the policy and the company's performance. By year 20, he's paid in $180,000, and his cash value could be somewhere in the range of $210,000 to $260,000. Now the compounding is visibly working. By year 30, he's paid in $270,000, and his cash value could reach $400,000 to $500,000 or more. Plus, he's got a death benefit that's been growing alongside it. Now, those numbers sound reasonable. He put in $270,000 and ended up with potentially $400,000 to $500,000. That's growth. That's real money. But here's the question nobody in those YouTube videos wants you to ask. What if Ethan had taken that same $750 a month and done something simpler? Here's the alternative. Ethan buys a 20-year term life insurance policy for about $30 a month. That gives him $500,000 in death benefit protection, same safety net for his family, covered. Now he takes the remaining $720 a month and puts it into a low-cost S&P 500 index fund. No fancy strategy, no agent, no commissions, just consistent investing. The S&P 500 has historically returned an average of about 10% per year over the long term. Let's be conservative and use 8% to account for real-world conditions. After year 10, Ethan's invested about $86,400. At 8% annual growth, his portfolio is worth roughly $130,000 to $135,000. Compare that to the whole life cash value of $85,000 to $100,000. After year 20, he's invested about $172,800. His portfolio is now worth roughly $430,000 to $450,000. The whole life cash value was $210,000 to $260,000. After year 30, he's invested $259,200. His portfolio? Roughly $1.05 to $1.1 million. The whole life cash value was $400,000 to $500,000. Let that sink in. Same $750 a month, same 30 years. One path gets Ethan to roughly $500,000. The other gets him to over $1 million. The difference is staggering, and this is using conservative numbers for the index fund. At the historical 10% average, the gap is even wider. Now, whole life advocates will push back on this comparison. They'll say the cash value growth is guaranteed and tax-free, while the stock market is volatile and subject to taxes. And they're right about that. Those are real advantages. The stock market can and does crash. Your whole life cash value will never go down. That peace of mind is real, and it has value, but the sheer size of the gap matters. Even after paying long-term capital gains taxes on the index fund, which max out at 15% for most people, Ethan still comes out significantly ahead. And if he's investing through a Roth IRA for a portion of those contributions, that growth is completely tax-free anyway. There's also a flexibility argument that doesn't get talked about enough. With the index fund, if Ethan has an emergency, he can sell shares and access his money within days. No policy loans, no interest charges, no repayment schedule. With the whole life policy, he's borrowing against his own money and paying 5 to 6% interest for the privilege. Now let's talk about the things the infinite banking sales pitch conveniently leaves out. First, the agent's commission. When Ethan signs up for this policy, the agent who sold it to him earns somewhere between 70 and 110% of his first-year premium. On a $9,000 annual premium, that's $6,300 to $9,900 going straight to the agent. In year one, this is the single biggest reason your cash value barely moves early on. The insurance company has to recoup that commission before your money starts actually working for you. Second, the policy loan interest. Remember, the big selling point is that you can borrow against your cash value. But these loans aren't free. Insurance companies charge 5 to 6% interest on policy loans. Yes, your cash value keeps growing behind the scenes, but you're also paying real interest on the borrowed amount. If you're earning a net dividend rate of around 5 to 6% while paying loan interest of 5 to 6%, those two forces largely cancel each other out. You're not really getting money for free. You're getting access to your money at a cost. Third, and this might be the most important one, the lapse rate. Industry data shows that the average whole life insurance policyholder lets their policy lapse around year 7 or 8. That means the majority of people who buy into this strategy never make it to the point where the policy starts performing well. They pay premiums for years, build up minimal cash value, and then life happens. They lose a job, have an emergency, or simply can't afford $750 a month anymore. They surrender the policy and walk away with less than they put in. The insurance company keeps the rest. Think about that. The strategy requires you to commit hundreds of dollars a month, every single month for decades. On a $70,000 salary, that leaves very little room for error. One financial shock, one bad year, and the whole strategy unravels. Fourth, the opportunity cost. Every dollar Ethan puts into this policy is a dollar that can't go into his 401k match, a Roth IRA, or a simple index fund. For someone at his income level, those dollars have far more growth potential elsewhere. All right, so if the math doesn't work for Ethan, does it work for anybody? Yes. It genuinely does, but probably not for the people being sold this strategy on social media. Infinite banking can be a powerful tool if you're already earning $250,000 or more per year. If you've already maxed out your 401k contributions, fully funded your Roth IRA, and you're investing in taxable brokerage accounts, and you still have money left over, then whole life insurance becomes an interesting addition to your financial toolkit. Here's why it changes at higher income levels. First, the premium commitment is a much smaller percentage of your income. Paying $750 a month on a $70,000 salary is painful. Paying $2,000 a month on a $400,000 salary barely registers. Second, high earners have already captured the easy wins. They're getting their employer match. They're maxing out their tax-advantaged accounts. They need additional places to store wealth in a tax-efficient way, and Whole Life offers that. Third, for truly high net worth individuals, whole life insurance is an estate planning powerhouse. The death benefit passes to beneficiaries income tax-free. It can be structured inside an irrevocable life insurance trust to avoid estate taxes. For someone with a $10 million estate, a properly structured whole life policy can save their heirs millions in taxes. Fourth, business owners use these policies strategically. They borrow against the cash value to fund business opportunities, maintain liquidity without selling assets, and create key person insurance that protects the company. This is the part the YouTube gurus get right. The strategy is real. It's been used by wealthy families and business owners for over a century. The part they get wrong is who it's for. They're packaging a wealthy person's optimization tool and marketing it as an everyday person's wealth-building foundation. And that mismatch is where people get hurt. So the question isn't whether infinite banking works. It does. The question is whether it works for you right now at your current income level and financial stage. And for most people watching this, the honest answer is not yet. So what should Ethan actually do with that $750 a month? Step 1. Buy a 20-year term life insurance policy. For a healthy 30-year-old, a $500,000 policy costs about $28 to $35 a month. That covers his family if something happens to him. Done. Step 2. If his employer offers a 401k with a company match, he should contribute at least enough to get the full match. That's free money. There is no financial strategy on earth that beats a 50 or 100% instant return on your contributions. Step 3. Open a Roth IRA and contribute the maximum. For 2025, that's $7,000 a year if you're under 50. Money goes in after tax, but it grows completely tax-free and comes out tax-free in retirement. No policy loans needed, no interest charges, just clean, tax-free growth. Step 4. Take whatever is left and invest it in a low-cost S&P 500 index fund through a regular brokerage account. Keep it simple. Keep the fees low. Let compounding do the heavy lifting over decades. If Ethan does this consistently from age 30 to 60, he's going to be in an incredibly strong financial position. And if his income grows over time, maybe he's earning $200,000 or $300,000 by his 40s, that he can revisit the whole life insurance conversation. At that point, it becomes a strategic addition to an already strong foundation, not a replacement for one. Look, I'm not here to tell you that infinite banking is a scam. It's not. The concept is real. The insurance products behind it are legitimate. And for the right person in the right financial situation, it can be a genuinely smart strategy. But here's what drives me crazy. The way this is being marketed makes it sound like it's for everyone, like anyone can become their own banker and build wealth with life insurance. And the math simply doesn't support that for the average person earning a regular income. If you're making $50,000, $70,000, or even $100,000 a year, your money has better places to be. Places where it grows faster, costs you less, and doesn't lock you into a 30-year commitment that most people statistically won't keep. And I want to be clear about something. This isn't a criticism of whole life insurance as a product. Whole life insurance is one of the oldest and most stable financial instruments in existence. These companies have survived world wars, the Great Depression, and every market crash in between. The product is solid. The problem isn't the product. The problem is who it's being sold to and how it's being positioned. Telling a 28-year-old making $60,000 to put $750 a month into a whole life policy before they've maxed out their 401k match or opened a Roth IRA isn't financial education. It's a sales pitch dressed up as advice, and the person delivering that pitch is often earning more in commission from that first year than Ethan sees in cash value. The infinite banking strategy isn't a life hack. It's a wealthy person's finishing move. And the most important financial decision you can make is knowing the difference between a strategy that's right for you and a strategy that's right for someone else. Do the math. Make the decision that matches your reality, not someone else's sales pitch.